Hey everyone, and welcome. So today we're going to pull back the curtain on something we all do like 100 times a day. We click. But why that link and not the one right next to it? We're diving into the actual science behind what makes content so engaging that you just have to read it, love it, and of course share it.
I mean, really think about it. That last article you opened, was it a super logical, well-thought-out decision? Probably not, right? It was more of an impulse, a gut feeling. And that split-second choice? That's exactly what we're breaking down today.
And here's the thing, the big secret. It's not random, not at all. The best creators out there, they know that engagement is something you can actually engineer. It all comes down to tapping into some really basic human psychology, our emotions, our curiosity, our social side, to grab that attention and get us to act.
Okay, so let's get right into it, starting at the very beginning. Before anyone even thinks about reading your first sentence, you have to win that click. This is all about making an absolutely irresistible first impression.
The fastest way to make a connection with someone is through emotion. Content that makes us feel something, whether it's the buzz of excitement, the spark of inspiration, that little bit of fear of missing out, or even some good old-fashioned anger, it creates this immediate, powerful bond. It bypasses all the logic and speaks right to our instincts.
So if emotion is one major hook, what's the other one? What is it that makes some headlines feel less like a suggestion and more like a command you just can't ignore?
Well, the answer is this amazing little thing called the curiosity gap. See, our brains are basically wired to want answers and complete patterns. So when a piece of content points out a gap in our knowledge, it creates this mental itch that we absolutely have to scratch by clicking.
And you can see this in action so clearly. A headline like, productivity tips, it's fine, but it's kind of forgettable, right? But then you see 7 hidden habits that sabotage your productivity. Instantly, your brain just goes, wait, what habits? Do I have those habits? See? That's that urgent little itch, that need to close the information gap.
All right, so let's move on to the next stage here. Getting the click is a huge win, for sure, but it's really only half the battle. Now you've got to hold that attention and prove to your reader that their click was worth it.
So here's the crucial part. Your content made a promise, and now it has to deliver. People are giving you their most valuable asset, their time, because they're expecting something in return. Whether that's a real solution to a problem, some fascinating new info, or just a good laugh, you have to provide clear, undeniable value. A huge part of delivering that value is building trust. It's simple. If your audience doesn't believe you, even the best information in the world is gonna fall flat. And you build that credibility by showing your work, citing sources, using data, being open about how you do things. It all proves that you're a reliable guide, not just another person shouting into the void. Okay, for example, I could just say, hey, a lot of people skim articles, and you'd probably nod along. But notice how different it feels when you back it up with data. Citing a real study from HubSpot that says 43% of people skim blog posts, suddenly it's way more powerful, it's trustworthy. You're not just taking my word for it anymore, you're seeing the cold, hard proof.
Another massive key to holding attention is making your content easy to consume. Remember that statistic? People skim. So visuals like images, infographics, and videos are absolutely critical. They break up those intimidating walls of text, they make complex ideas way easier to digest, and they appeal to that huge chunk of your audience that learns best by seeing, not just reading.
Okay, we've done it. We've earned the click, and we've held their attention. Now it's time for the final and honestly, the most powerful step. Turning a passive reader into an active sharer who goes out and amplifies your message for you. This is all about the power of social proof. We're social creatures, right? We look to others for cues on what to do. So just imagine seeing a headline that says, over 10,000 people have already transformed their mornings with this routine. That number, it's not just a fact, it's a signal that a whole community has already given it a thumbs up. It practically screams, hey, this is worth your time.
So how do you actually encourage that share? Well, it's a pretty simple path. First, you make it personal. You talk directly to your reader. Then, you invite them into the conversation. When people feel like they've been seen and that they're involved, sharing just becomes the natural next step, especially if you make it super easy for them to do it.
Wow, we have covered a lot of ground, haven't we? From that very first click all the way to the final share. So let's pull this all together into a clear, actionable blueprint that you can start using right away.
So here it is, the playbook. It all starts with a spark, an emotion and a question that wins the click. Then you hold on to that attention by delivering real value and building unshakable trust. And finally, you help it spread by tapping into our social nature and making it completely effortless to share. You master these 6 steps, and you've pretty much mastered engagement.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one final thought. The next time you create something, instead of just thinking about what information you're going to share, ask yourself this question. Will it be excitement, inspiration, maybe even a little bit of that fear of missing out? Because if you can answer that, you're no longer just creating content, you're creating a real connection.